Most people see fire ants as nothing more than tiny, aggressive insects crawling through the grass, the kind of creatures you instinctively crush before they can crawl onto your skin. They feel chaotic, angry, almost mindless. But the strange truth is that scientists who study them often describe an entire fire ant colony as a single living organism. While we see thousands of separate insects, nature may see something completely different. A coordinated society capable of sacrifice, communication, and survival on a level that seems almost impossible for creatures so small. When floods arrive, they link their bodies together into living rafts. When danger touches the nest, they respond within seconds with terrifying precision. And deep beneath the soil, millions of them work as if they are connected by one shared purpose. So what are fire ants really? Are they simply one of the most hated insects on Earth? Or could they secretly be one of the most intelligent and organized survival systems nature has ever created? Most people see fire ants as nothing more than tiny, aggressive insects crawling through the grass, the kind of creatures you instinctively crush before they can crawl onto your skin. They feel chaotic, angry, almost mindless. But the strange truth is that scientists who study them often describe an entire fire ant colony as a single living organism. While we see thousands of separate insects, nature may see something completely different. A coordinated society capable of sacrifice, communication, and survival on a level that seems almost impossible for creatures so small. When floods arrive, they link their bodies together into living rafts. When danger touches the nest, they respond within seconds with terrifying precision. And deep beneath the soil, millions of them work as if they are connected by one shared purpose. So what are fire ants really? Are they simply one of the most hated insects on Earth? Or could they secretly be one of the most intelligent and organized survival systems nature has ever created? Their hunting tactics. So how can creatures so tiny overwhelm animals many times larger than themselves? The answer lies in coordination so precise that it barely feels accidental. A single worker ant is fragile and easily ignored. But the moment prey disturbs the ground near the colony, everything changes. Invisible chemical signals race through the soil, spreading alarm faster than most people realize possible, and within seconds the mound erupts with movement. The colony responds as one living force. Streams of reddish attackers surge across the surface, locking onto the victim with hooked mandibles while others deliver repeated venomous stings with surgical accuracy. Some restrain movement, others target exposed tissue, others remain on the edges of the swarm, defending the attack itself from interruption. Nothing about it feels random. Entomologists studying these insects often describe their assaults as highly coordinated defensive warfare rather than simple feeding behavior. And what makes the experience especially disturbing is that the target rarely escapes through strength alone. Exhaustion comes first. Panic follows. Then collapse. The nature behind their aggression. Most people see these ants as cruel, hostile, almost chaotic. But their behavior is driven by something deeper than aggression. Absolute devotion to the colony. Every worker exists as part of a much larger system where individual survival means very little compared to the survival of the nest itself. The queen, the larvae, the developing eggs, these become the center of everything. Thousands of defenders may die protecting them without hesitation. No fear, no retreat, just instinctive sacrifice. And once you begin observing them closely, another side slowly appears beneath the violence. Underground, these insects organize nurseries, maintain food chambers, repair tunnel systems, and create massive transportation routes marked by invisible pheromone trails. No leader stands above them issuing commands. Yet millions continue operating with astonishing efficiency. The deeper scientists study fire ants, the less they resemble mindless pests, and the more they resemble a highly disciplined biological civilization hidden beneath the soil. Their unusual reproductive cycle. So where does a colony this powerful actually begin? Surprisingly, with fragility. During warm and humid seasons, Winged queens and males rise into the air during enormous mating flights that transform the sky into a drifting cloud of reproductive insects. For a brief moment, survival depends entirely on chance, weather, and timing. Most males die shortly afterward. The queens endure. Once fertilized, a future queen lands, tears away her own wings, and disappears underground alone. There are no workers waiting for her. No protection. No food supply. Only darkness. Inside a sealed chamber beneath the earth, she lays her first eggs and survives by metabolizing the muscles that once powered her wings. Weeks pass in silence while she raises the colony's first generation completely by herself. Then everything changes. The moment the first workers emerge, the nest begins expanding with astonishing speed. From that point forward, the queen rarely leaves the underground chambers again. Her body becomes a living engine for reproduction, capable of producing extraordinary numbers of eggs over time. And in certain species, multiple queens coexist within the same colony, allowing entire populations to spread across landscapes with explosive growth. Extraordinary abilities. But perhaps the most astonishing thing about fire ants is not their venom. It is their ability to survive disasters that should wipe them out completely. When floodwaters rise, thousands of workers instinctively lock themselves together using their legs and jaws, forming a floating structure known as a living raft. The colony drifts across the water as a single organism, while queens and larvae remain protected safely in the center. Outer layers absorb the danger first. They still hold together. Scientists studying this phenomenon discovered that the structure naturally repels water, redistributes weight, and constantly reorganizes itself to remain stable under changing conditions. In other words, the raft behaves less like a pile of insects and more like an adaptive survival machine. And this is only one example of their collective intelligence. These underground societies can rebuild destroyed nests rapidly, establish enormous tunnel networks, adapt to changing environments, and coordinate labor systems involving millions of individuals without centralized control. Tiny nervous systems, yet extraordinary collective behavior. Their value and role in human life. After seeing their swarming attacks and rapid expansion, it becomes easy to label them as nothing more than dangerous invaders. But nature rarely creates anything without purpose. Despite their reputation, fire ants still contribute to ecosystems in important ways. They prey on various insects that damage crops, help recycle organic material, and aerate the soil through constant tunneling activity. In many regions, reptiles, amphibians, birds, and other arthropods rely on them as part of the food web. And strangely enough, these feared insects have also inspired human innovation. Researchers studying their living rafts have used those observations to explore flood-resistant engineering systems and self-organizing robotics. Their communication networks are examined by scientists interested in decentralized intelligence and swarm coordination. Even compounds found within their venom are being investigated for potential medical and pharmaceutical applications. So perhaps the real question is no longer whether fire ants are dangerous. We already know they are. The deeper question is this: how can a creature so small contain such an extraordinary balance of destruction, intelligence, sacrifice, and survival all at once? So after learning what these tiny underground societies are truly capable of, the next question becomes surprisingly important. How do you know if fire ants are already living around you? In many cases, the first sign is not the ants themselves, but the landscape changing in subtle ways. Active colonies often create loose soil mounds that appear suddenly after rain or warm weather, usually in open grass, near sidewalks, tree roots, gardens, or cracks in the ground. Unlike ordinary ant nests, these mounds may have no obvious opening at the top because the entrance tunnels are hidden beneath the surface. And if the colony is still active, the reaction can be immediate. Disturb the mound slightly with a stick or even a vibration from your footsteps, and within seconds the soil may begin to move. Workers rush upward in coordinated waves, spreading rapidly across the surface as if the ground itself has come alive. But abandoned nests look very different. Old colonies slowly harden under the sun, becoming dry, compact, and strangely silent. No movement appears after disturbance. No fresh soil is added. No invisible trails of workers travel nearby. What once functioned as a living underground fortress becomes nothing more than an empty shell left behind by a vanished colony. And the unsettling truth is that many people pass these nests every single day without realizing how much activity is happening just beneath their feet. Because whether we notice them or not, fire ants are constantly shaping the environment around us. Hunting, tunneling, expanding, defending, surviving. So now I want to ask you something. After learning the true nature of fire ants, do you still see them as nothing more than dangerous pests? Or do you think these tiny architects of survival affect the balance of life around us far more than most people realize? And if a colony were hidden somewhere near your home right now, would you even notice the signs? Let me know what you think down in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this journey into the hidden world beneath our feet, don't forget to subscribe for more cinematic wildlife stories. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.